The draft last night. I'm gonna jump ahead real quick. The draft last night was an absolute.
Let's get into it.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
It was awful to watch. It was so unenjoyable. I didn't even watch the whole thing. I turned it right off. It was so unenjoyable. It was like they didn't even try to get viewership or want anyone to even turn it on. I was like, what the hell are we watching here? It was. I don't want to use the word childish, but
it was childish. No, it's okay. You could use the word childish because it was.
It was childish. What the hell were we watching? What was that?
I had such high hopes. So first off, it was in a place called Gas Works Park. Why are we naming a park first off after something that sounds like a fart? And why are we having it there? Like, that's ridiculous. Then there were so many other things. Where to even start? So Gary Bettman called him Dave Hextall. That really set the tone for me. I don't know if you guys picked up on that, but he was like, we really like to thank, General Manager Ron Francis and Coach Dave Hextall. And I was like, oh my God. He called it Climate Change Arena. It's actually called Climate Pledge Arena. And then I think he made one other gaffe.
The guy who announced Donskoy's name completely.
Oh, Sean Kemp absolutely
butchered it. You would think that you would tell the guy, you go over it with him beforehand, okay? Because, the list has been out since 10 a.m. It's been known that
everybody knows what he's going to say except for him.
Except for him. Which, by the way, why does the list need to be submitted that early?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
I
knew it was going to get leaked. You knew it was going to get leaked.
I understand, okay, let's have Seattle give us the list at some point before the draft starts so we can give ESPN all the names. We could get the jerseys made. We could put everything up on the site at night. I understand that completely, right? You don't want to blindside Dominic Moore with his analysis. And, I mean, God forbid, somebody had said Alexander True, at 9 a.m. yesterday. Nobody who would know who the hell you were talking about. And now we know who he is because he was the pick from Vancouver or something. I don't even know. So I understand it on that sense where you need to have a list before you get up there because you need to be able to tell the players and their families and ESPN and the other general managers and whatever and social media, all that. But for the list to get to Frank Saravelli was an absolute abomination. The NHL had complete control over their primetime event. This was not an ESPN produced event. This was a NHL produced event. NHL put all of it together. It was simulcast into Canada. Chris Fowler and Dominic Moore were there for ESPN, but there's no ESPN logo. So it was completely NHL's decision on what they wanted to do. And somehow that list got to Frank Saravelli. And I can only imagine that heads are rolling in the NHL office today. That's a complete disaster because there was no reason to watch it. There was none. I kept it on because just out of the hope that there would be a side deal at the end of it, they'd just be like, oh, here's all the trades at once, and it would be absolute pandemonium. There wasn't. They picked the guy from Vancouver, and Chris Fowler was like, okay, that's it, see ya. And it was like, what? That's it? And then I flipped over to NHL Network thinking okay, maybe the side deals will be on there. I go on Twitter, and Cap Friendly's like, there's no side deals. I was like, I could have gone to bed 3 hours ago. What is happening? It was a complete disaster. And the NHL looks like the clowns they usually look like.
Well, this is something completely irrelevant, but I'm reading from Larry Brooks right now on Twitter that he's been told that Lou is looking to bring both Parisi and Suter to the island, which was already reported, but apparently that's picking up some more, so just figured I'd throw that out there right now. But yeah, Chris, that draft last night was something else. I mean, there was nothing there that could really draw the viewer into wanting to stay there and keep listening and watching. I mean, even the players that they brought in, I know they had Eberle and Giordano was there. They didn't have anything to ask them. They didn't really show the enthusiasm of the players. There was no side deals, which are supposed to be coming out now, which is why I was trying to scroll Twitter to see if we can find something, but I haven't seen anything yet. But it was just an abomination, man. I don't know. I understand Saravelli leaking all the picks. I mean, I guess he's just doing his job. I mean, he got him. Why would he not put him out? But the league, that's on the NHL. The league can easily make the list, not do 10 hours prior. They can do it with a couple hours and somehow not let it get to any reporters. I mean, that's a clear-cut mess up on the NHL, in my opinion. And even before they said they don't want another situation like what happened for Vegas, and I think it was not even 10 minutes later, I'm seeing who the Kraken have selected at 10:30 in the morning. I was like, well, that didn't go as planned. But there is so much for the league and ESPN as a whole that needs to be fixed before the season starts. There's something needs to happen, because that was terrible to watch. It was terrible TV. It was barely TV, in my opinion. I don't think many people honestly watched it, considering they didn't have to. It didn't make much sense. The mispronunciations, like they just weren't prepared for it at all. They didn't really have anything to give. It was just, I feel like it was more of something they had to do after all the picks. Like they obviously have to have a draft. Everyone in the world knew the picks already, but couldn't back out of it then. So they went with what they had, and that was the result of it.
Yeah, that you really just put that perfectly, Mike. It felt like something that it was a formality, like, all right, we got to get this out of the way. I managed to fend off the leakage on Twitter. I got a heads up from my friend. He was like, hey, they literally just leaked the entire picks. And I was like, do not send them to me. I'm not going on social media today. So I knew the Rangers were they were giving up Blackwell, and I knew that Price wasn't going to get taken. But besides that, I was going into the draft not really knowing what was happening. I was excited. And yeah, it was just a big fat it was not very entertaining at all. The analysis, I mean, I like Dominic more, but I don't know if this was just a product of the guys they were picking were the same players over and over, but I felt like every single forward that was getting picked was, oh, he can nicely fill in the bottom six. He's a good forechecker. He can hit. I was like, they've picked 5 of these guys already. Why are they picking more? So yeah, it just wasn't. I thought the Kraken left. I didn't think they had a very, very good draft anyway. I mean, with the no side deals, that was shocking to me. And I was with you, Chris. That was the draft was from 8 to 9:30 Eastern time. And by 8:45, 9, I was like, okay, the only reason I'm leaving this on is because I'm hoping that, at the end, there's gonna be like, all right, here are these side deals coming in. And all of a sudden I checked my phone when I think it was either San Jose or Vancouver, one of the last teams getting picked, and it was 9:29. I was like, wait, this thing's just gonna end. And it just ended.
I don't know how it took you till 8:45, 9 o'clock to realize that it was terrible.
That's true. It was terrible the whole time, but I was hoping that it would turn the corner. But
it was the first commercial break at 8:13 when there had been like one like cool selection, and it was like Jeremy Lauzon and
from the Octopus.
Yeah, then there was the Octopus, and then there was the Buffalo guy, and they went to commercial, and I was like, this is gonna suck. It's like it just kept on going. The Kevin Weeks like pre-recorded picks were pretty cool, like the Jared McCann and the fish, and I thought the aquarium was kind of funny, and I liked when they had the construction workers from the arena. But other than that, it was just Ron Francis in his coiffed hair, like, we're gonna take Jordan Eberle. And it's like, we all knew that at 11 o'clock this morning. Is there a draft pick? Like what? And then Chris Fowler doesn't ask him like the hard questions. He takes Vince Dunn, and he could have turned around and said, why didn't you take Vlad Tarasenko? And he didn't do that. And it was like, there's a guy in Vlad Tarasenko and Gabe Landeskog who could have been selected by the Kraken. They could have had a first line of Max Domi, Vlad Tarasenko, and Gabe Landeskog, and they had none of that. And nobody cared to ask Ron Francis why. It was like, why are you drafting 87 guys who could play on your third pair and not a first-line winger? You have one first-line winger in Jordan Eberle. That's it. And is he really even a first-line winger, or did he just play with Matt Barzal for the last 3 years? Like, I don't know. It was – I agree with you, Tyler, that the Kraken selected a terrible team. It's now 1:15, and I am scrolling again, and I see no trades here. I see a couple signings. Mike Smith got signed, but no trades.
Vince Mercogliano just tweeted that we're 13 minutes past the trade freeze and nothing has happened. Cancel the entire offseason.
Like, what is happening? Like, they absolutely blew this. And look, I think that part of this is that GMs were scared from last time, because if you remember last time, think about like the good players from Vegas. Like, William Karlsson and Marc-Andre Fleury were taken in the draft, but you also had Riley Smith and Alex Tuck, who were traded to Vegas in order to not take other players. And that was kind of how they built their team. They're like, they got Riley Smith, they got Alex Tuck, got the Islanders first round pick. They got a bunch of different guys, and it worked out well for them in the end. And I think that definitely part of this is that the GMs were scared away. And I can't blame them, but it was a complete disaster.
Yeah, I got it. It was. I don't even know what to say about it. It was just terrible from start to finish, and I didn't finish, so I don't know how it ended. Don't
I
know how.
saw I saw they traded Tyler Pitlick.
Yeah, to Calgary.
There's one move. Real exciting.
Yeah, that's a name dropper right there.
Yeah.
So
I think it was a combination, of teams were not going to make the same mistakes they made last time, but the hope was that the flat cap would, kind of force them to have make these mistakes.
Woohoo.
But clearly, you know, clearly the Seattle Kraken, the asking price was way too high, and teams were just like, no, we're calling your bluff. No, we're not giving that up.
because apparently they were asking outrageous prices to not take somebody, and the team was just like, absolutely not. I'm not giving you
I heard it was
picks. No way.
I heard it was like 2 first-round picks if you didn't want them to take someone. Like,
Yeah.
all right, have fun, take them.
The report was that it was a first and a third to not take Giordano. And Calgary was like, a first-round pick for a 38-year-old defenseman? Yeah, no. And it's like, I don't know. At some point, I got to respect that. But so that's fine, right? You can ask for whatever you want. So let's take Calgary, for example. Oh, give us a first and a third, and we'll take the guy off the bottom of the roster. No, you can take Giordano. Okay, they take him. Then how do you explain the other 30 picks? Because the other 30 picks the other 25-ish besides Alexiak, who was a free agent, Driedger, who's a free agent, Eberle, who the Islanders were clearly okay with losing, Giordano, who Calgary was clearly okay with losing. All the other players are just objectively terrible or in the case of Brandon Tanev, have a terrible contract. So why wasn't Max Domi selected by Columbus? And it's now 118, and we do not know the answer. And if the answer is just we didn't think Max Domi was the best player available from Columbus, then either A, Ron Francis is a liar, or B, Ron Francis is a complete psychopath. I'm really confused by what happened last night. It was a very, very interesting evening for sure.